Good morning, students. Welcome to our session today. We're going to start with the unit number 5. Here we have the vocabulary and the grammar presentation. In this unit, we are going to work with comparatives and superlatives. So we are going to talk about some vocabulary about landscapes. We are going to have some descriptions of regions. Descriptions a lot in this case, right? Now we continue with the forms about this one, and we are going to say the secrets of the solar system, okay? So you are going to read and you are going to listen according to the audio, okay? Please follow it.
The secrets of the solar system. The planets of the solar system have the names of ancient Roman gods, and we have studied them for thousands of years. First, we just looked up at the sky to see the planets and stars, and later we used telescopes. Nowadays, our telescopes are more powerful than in the past, and we can send space probes on incredible expeditions to distant planets. Thanks to astronomers and scientists, we know that a day on Venus lasts 6,000 hours. The moon is as wide as Australia. Ganymede, one of Jupiter's moons, is larger than Mercury, and Saturn is lighter than water.
Mercury is closest to the sun. It gets hotter than an oven, 420 degrees Celsius, but can also be minus 170 degrees Celsius, colder than a freezer. Its day lasts twice as long as its year.
Venus is about as big as the Earth. It's cloudy, but incredibly hot. 480 degrees Celsius. Its day is longer than Mercury's, 8 Earth months. But a year is shorter, 224 Earth days.
Earth is the only planet with liquid water, perfect for life. It's 150 million kilometers from the sun, and sunlight takes 8.5 minutes to arrive here.
Mars is a red, rocky planet. A day on Mars is about the same as an Earth day, but a year is nearly twice as long, 687 Earth days.
Jupiter is a giant planet, 130 times bigger than Earth. It's very stormy and can be minus 150 degrees Celsius. It's got 66 moons. It's also got rings like Saturn, but they are smaller.
Saturn has got colourful rings made of little pieces of ice and rock. Its day is very short, only 10 Earth hours. Saturn has also got lots of moons, but fewer than Jupiter.
Uranus, the ice planet, is extremely cold, minus 214 degrees Celsius. It takes 84 years to orbit the sun. It's got 13 rings and 27 moons, which have the names of Shakespeare's characters.
Neptune looks blue because of methane gas. It's freezing cold at minus 220 degrees Celsius, and its winds reach 2,000 kilometers an hour. Its day is short, but its year lasts 165 Earth years.
Okay, so you have the secrets of the solar system. You have a brief description of the planets, and I need that you pay attention to the adjectives, the words that they are using to describe them. With this information that you have in your student book, we go to the activity number 4. Activity number 4, and we are going to read true or false statements, okay? Almendares de Yanira, start reading, please.
Look at the picture and read the text about each planet. Decide if the sentences are true or false.
Okay, read the number one.
Saturn is further from the Sun than Jupiter. True.
Okay, continue with number two.
Venus is Earth's neighbor.
Okay, what is your opinion? True or false?
False.
Okay, it's true. Continue with
True.
number three.
Yeah. Uranus is colder than Neptune.
Is your opinion about that?
True.
False. Okay, number four.
Jupiter is 113 times bigger than Mercury.
True or false for you?
False.
Okay, thank you, Miss. Ricardo Julius, continue with the number five.
Mercury is next to the Sun.
What is for
False.
you? It's true. Number six, Ricardo. Number six, continue. Okay.
Uranus Ryan have got Shakespearean names. True.
Okay, false.
Allá la
Number
conté.
seven.
Their wind of Neptune is calm. Miss-
Sorry.
True.
Okay, false. Okay, number eight.
Mars is made of gas. Donde no sea. False.
Okay, so here you got the answers. Thank you, Ricardo. Please, everybody, complete correct. Okay, circle in your books. Circle in your books. Okay, so you have this first information for this part. Okay, now we continue with the next part in this, and obviously we are going to pay attention to some words that are being focused into this about the periods of time. In this case, we are talking about the century. Okay, and we are talking about a decade. Okay, remember that a century reforms in this case contains 100 years. Okay, and remember that about the decade only we got 10 years for that. Okay, remember that those are related to this one and to this one too. When we talk about, in this case, an hour, we are indicating that it contains minutes and seconds. When you talk about a month, you are indicating that a month you can contain into weeks, and year can be contained into month and weeks, okay? Those are some of the periods of time that we are using in this unit, that we are using for that. Remember, century and decade. Those are the most forms of this. Using these words now, we continue with page 51. Attention with page 51 about the adjectives. Remember that when we talk about adjectives, we use those words to describe. We can describe people, objects, animals, places, and you can compare with any other ones. But before starting with that comparisons, it's important that we remember that we identified some of the adjectives that are the most common for them. In this box, you are going to find some adjectives. And obviously what you are going to have in this list. In this list, you are going to have the word, in this case, the adjective, and you are going to select the opposite. You are going to select the opposite to do in this case. Okay, so Cabrera, no, Cabrera Juan is connecting right now. Isabela Delgado. Está reading Isabela, please.
Drag the oppositions from the box.
You're not Isabela. Okay, drag the opposites of this. Continue.
Deep, safe, wide, dry, hard, near, quick, cheap, thin,
Quiet,
short,
okay, short.
weak, full, interesting, early, beautiful, popular, fast, and heavy.
Those are the adjectives. Okay, start with this, the number one, mister.
Light, heavy,
Number two,
boring,
which one would you select the opposite of boring?
popular,
No.
interesting,
Okay, continue. Number three.
dangerous, safe,
Continue.
empathy,
Mhm.
heart,
Are you sure? No. Empty.
full,
Full. Number five.
expensive, cheap,
Okay, thank you very much. Continue with the number six. Antonio Barresueta, number six. Antonio Barresueta, number six. Barresueta is not here. Okay, see you later, Antonio. Okay, Catherine Unda, continue with the number six.
Far, near.
Okay, where is near? Okay, continue.
And late, early.
Okay,
Long and short.
where is it? Okay. Continue.
And narrow. I don't know.
Narrow, in this case. What is the opposite?
Wide.
Okay.
Noisy. Quiet.
Continue.
And shallow.
Shallow. Where is shallow? What is in this case?
Deep.
Okay. Continue.
Slow. Fast.
Okay, thank you very much, miss. Okay, continue with the next one, please. Manuel Miranda.
Soft, dry,
Okay, continue.
strong, weak,
Continue.
strict, thin, thin,
Thin. Okay.
ugly, beautiful,
Okay.
unpopular, popular,
Okay.
and weak, with, hard.
Okay. So, attention, everybody. Any change? Any change, everybody? Any correction? Activate your microphones, please. Any correction? Any correction? Yes, we.
Number 13.
Okay, number 13.
It's hard and
Okay.
18 is dry.
Okay. Any other error? Thank you, Jordana. Any other correction? Nobody else? Okay, we are going to check. Very good. Here you have the correct ones. Remember, adjectives, descriptions, words that we are going to use to compare or to make some superlatives. Please correct the errors in your books. Let's do it. Let's do it. Correct the errors in your books. Correct and complete in your books. Quickly. 1, 2, and 3. Okay. With these adjectives that we are going to work on this, okay? With these adjectives that we are going to work on this, we are going to have, in this case, the next activity. Attention, you are going to select the adjective that you can't, attention, you can't use. Attention to the particularity of this, that you can't use. It's not the correct one, that you can't use according to this. Romina Mite is the reading, number 1.
The rivers really
You can't use, that is not the correct.
being
Okay,
here
continue.
great for
Okay, yeah.
kayaking.
Attention, be careful with this exercise. You are not to use the correct one. You are using the which one that you can't use. Okay, continue. Number 2.
I don't like this cafe because it's always so safe.
Okay, number 3.
Carrot is white.
Okay, continue with number 4.
My dad always takes the unpopular trying to work.
Number 5.
And this dictionary is really
Okay, what is the word?
thick. Thick, no?
Which one?
Thick. Thick.
Thick or deep? Remember that if you can't, you cannot use. That is not the correct.
Deep, deep.
Deep, okay? So attention. Attention to this, be careful. Be careful, okay? This is the opposite of would be, okay? So we are going to check in this. Por favor, atención con este ejercicio. Cuidado, se va a equivocar. Le está pidiendo que seleccione la palabra incorrecta. Cuidado, se va a equivocar, okay? So in this case, it's the incorrect words that you have been selected for that, okay? Complete the information, please. Complete the information. 1, 2, and 3, okay? Using this information, now we go to this. Remember that with these adjectives, you are going to use the comparatives and superlatives. In the primary school, you were working a lot with this, working with ER and done. Now we are going to make a review. Now we are going to make a review of this information, okay? Attention, 1, 2, and 3.
We use comparative adjectives to compare two things. We use than before the second thing. Russia is bigger than Canada. Elephants are heavier than giraffes. Emily is a more talented singer than Sadie. If the second thing in a comparative sentence is a personal pronoun, we use either an object pronoun or a subject pronoun with the auxiliary verb repeated. Chris is better at maths than me. Or, Chris is better at maths than I am. Eleanor's brother is taller than her. Or, Eleanor's brother is taller than she is.
Okay, so in the first part of these comparatives, we are going to remember what is about the spelling. Remember ER and connect at the end with than. That is the form of the comparative. The other thing that we are using is the expression more for longer adjectives, more the adjective, and obviously than in this case. Remember that when you are using this, it's important, please, to remember that you have the verb to be, is, are, or am, and you are going to use the adjective and you are going to connect with than. Than is the connector for the comparison form. The other thing that we have to be careful about is about the personal pronouns. There are two forms to make the complement of the comparisons. Remember, when you compare, when you, in this case, you say, than me, than her, than him. But also you can use the phrase, the form of this, and you say, I am, than I am, than she is, than he is. You can use the short form that you have in this case using the personal pronoun, or you can use the longer form using, in this case, than, okay? That is the expression in this case that we are going to use to form on that. Now we continue with the second part.
Not as. As. We can use not as plus adjective plus as to make comparatives. They have the opposite meaning to comparative forms with er and more. Uranus isn't as cold as Neptune. Neptune is colder than Uranus. Russian isn't as difficult as Chinese. Chinese is more difficult than Russian.
Okay, you see here that we are talking specifically about us. I need that you pay attention to something. As, in this case, as, especially when you are using as without no, we are indicating that are exactly the same. Attention, please. When you are using as affirmative, you are saying the two comparatives, the object, the people, the person are exactly the same. When you are using not as, adjective as, you're indicating into the negative form, the different or the opposite. It's important to remember that when you are using as, adjective as, you are have the form of this. Remember the verb to be, is as cold as, is as difficult as. Attention to do in this case. Es importante que recordemos que cuando trabajamos con as, y escúchenme bien, lo estoy haciendo hasta en español. As, adjective as cold as, tan frío como, as hot as, tan caliente como, as friendly as, tan amigable como. Cuando usted lo utiliza sin el not, le está quitando el not, usted está indicando que las dos opciones que está dando son iguales, ¿verdad? Usted los puede utilizar de forma afirmativa. As beautiful as, tan bella como. Está indicando que los dos son con la misma característica. Pero, ¿qué sucede cuando usted le coloca el not a ese as? Cuando usted incluye el not al as, al adjetivo as, y lo está conjugando de una forma negativa, usted está indicando lo contrario. Ya no son los dos iguales, significa que los dos son distintos, son opuestos. Esa es la diferencia del as afirmativo o el not as, adjective as negativo. Tercero que tiene que recordar, siempre va a trabajar con el verbo to be, always with the verb to be, into affirmative or negative expressions to form this kind of comparatives. Cuando usted va a trabajar as or not as, usted va a utilizar el verbo to be, is, are, am or isn't, aren't or am not. Y por ende, en medio del as, va a utilizar el adjective. As beautiful as long as, in this case. Y usted lo va a utilizar. Tiene los dos ejemplos comparativos dentro de este formato. ¿Ok? Continue.
Less. We can also use less plus adjectives with 2 or more syllables. It means the opposite to more. We use them before the second thing. Cricket is less popular in Scotland than in England. We often use a mixture of comparative forms, not as, and less when we compare two things. Los Angeles is bigger and more populated than San Francisco, but it's less historic and it isn't as pretty.
Okay, the other form that we find according to this is the expression that we use with less, is less. Remember that less is very similar to the comparison with as. What is the difference? That we are going to use less plus the adjective, less plus the adjective. And you're going to say less popular than. In this case, you are including than in the expression. Here in as, you are not using that. Cuando usted utiliza as en su forma afirmativa o negativa, no está incluyendo el than. Pero cuando utiliza less, ahí sí va a incluir than. Pero quiero que entienda lo siguiente. For example, cricket is the subject to be compared. Is the verb to be, is, are, am, and obviously the adjective using less in this case. Y usted está comparando este subject, usted está utilizando dos elementos dentro de la comparación. Scotland and England. Por esa razón es que aquí trabajamos con than. Mire lo que está pasando. Cricket is, the verb to be, less popular in Scotland than in England. Soccer is less popular in USA than in Ecuador, for example. Usted va a utilizar less de igual manera, is, are, am before less. We can use a mixture of these comparatives. Here you have an example. It's bigger and more populated, but it's less historic and isn't as pretty. Usted puede utilizar todas estas formas de los comparativos dentro de una misma oración, mientras los utilice de la forma correcta. Usted los puede trabajar dentro de la misma opción, mientras los trabaje de la forma correcta. Aquí usted tiene, por favor, todo lo que vamos a trabajar, toda la revisión que hemos hecho acerca de los comparativos. Using these comparatives, now we are going to work into the following activity, ¿ok? ¿Me escuchan? ¿Qué van a hacer? Tome nota de lo que va a hacer. En su casa, usted va a trabajar la actividad 1, number 1. You are going to complete information in the number 1. Number 2, you are going to complete information. You read the sentences in the number 2. And you are going to read also into the number 4. And you are going to complete the number 4, ¿ok? La página 52, usted la va a trabajar en su casa. ¿Qué corresponde a la página 53? Tome nota, por favor. En la página 53 usted va a trabajar con todos los audios. Recuerde que los audios usted los encuentra en la plataforma de Richmond. Mas, sin embargo, si tiene problemas con la plataforma de Richmond, yo se los voy a hacer escuchar en este momento. Va a quedar grabado y usted automáticamente puede recurrir al video y hacer la actividad, ¿ok? So remember that you are going to work. In conclusion, page 52 and page 53. Attention to the audios, please, okay? Number 1.
So, where do you want to go in London on Saturday?
I'd like to go to the British Museum.
Oh no, the British Museum's just full of old stuff. It's boring.
It's one of the best museums in the world.
Well, I'd like to go to the Natural History Museum. It's all about our planet. You know, the rocks and plants and animals and things.
The British Museum's more interesting than that. There are more than 8 million objects in it.
Well, the Natural History Museum has got 70 million items. And it's more fun. It's got a special gallery with the skeletons of dinosaurs. Some of them are moving too.
The British Museum has got loads of ancient Egyptian mummies.
Dinosaurs are more exciting than mummies.
No way! Mummies are fantastic. One of the mummies is over 5,000 years old.
dinosaurs are older than that. And the Natural History Museums open later too. On Fridays, it's open until 8:30.
Well, we're going on Saturday, not Friday.
It's also got 2 cafes, a snack bar and a restaurant. And I always get hungry in museums.
There are 3 cafes at the British Museum.
There are 3 cafes at the Science Museum too.
I'm not into science.
But the Science Museum is amazing. You can see everything from old aeroplanes to space rockets. It's got a brilliant shop. And there are 4 cinemas too.
4?
Yeah, one of them is an IMAX cinema. And there's also the Legend of Apollo 4D cinema. It's about the Apollo flights to the moon.
What's a 4D cinema?
Well, it's a 3D cinema, really, but the cinema does these incredible things when you're watching the film. There are strange smells, you feel water in the air, and your seats move. It's like being an astronaut.
That sounds cool. Maybe it's better than the British Museum.
OK, I agree. Let's go to the Science Museum.
Okay, this is the audio that you are going to use to complete the listening section. Number 1, number 2, number 3, and number 4. Let me check about the number 4. Is exactly, yes, it's exactly the same. So in this case, you are going to work, but that is the conclusion. Page 52 and page 53, okay? That is what you are going to work for this, okay? ¿Me escuchan entonces? En la plataforma de RLP usted no va a encontrar nada esta semana. ¿Por qué? Porque obviamente se ha solicitado una revisión técnica para la descarga de notas. Para ustedes no hay ningún inconveniente, es para nosotros los maestros. Entonces se ha solicitado una revisión técnica y por ende está desde la semana pasada. Por eso ustedes no han recibido sus asignaciones ahí y tampoco la van a recibir el día de hoy ni esta semana. Así que están liberados. Eso es mi aguinaldo navideño para ustedes. Pero van a trabajar en el Student Book. Mire que se lo estoy diciendo. Student Book and in the Workbook. Va a trabajar en el Student Book y en la sección del Workbook físico. En el Student Book y en el Workbook físico, usted va a trabajar esas 2 actividades. ¿Ok? No va a tener nada esta semana, se van libres, solo van a trabajar con este librito. ¿Alguna pregunta? ¿No? ¿No?
Mir, disculpe
Dígame.
una pregunta. No es con su materia, pero quería preguntarle. ¿Va a haber más clases toda esta semana o hasta cuándo?
Hasta el día jueves es normal. No, hasta el día 22. 22 es normal. Hasta el día 22 es normal. El 23 puede ser de que ya es una situación más bien de carácter ministerial que se están solicitando los permisos. Ok, well, so, me voy a despedir deseándoles unas excelentes fiestas, unas excelentes Pascuas. Felicidad, armonía en su hogar. Cuídense mucho, disfrútenlo. Esta es la época más bonita para ustedes. Disfrútenla con sus familias, a recordar a aquellos que se fueron, recordarlos de la mejor manera. Por favor, cuídense mucho, cuiden a sus viejos, cuiden a sus familias, cuídense ustedes también, ¿ok? Cuídense tanto así que es un privilegio en estos tiempos de pandemia contar con vida y tener a los nuestros al lado. Un beso enorme, cuídense mucho. Happy New Year, Merry Christmas for everybody, okay? Bye, baby, see ya.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye,
Bye.
Miss.
Bye.